Since the start of the 21st century, homelessness has been an uprising challenge for the U.S. This has been mostly due to higher crime and drug use in large U.S. cities. Homelessness is causing great trouble for big cities in the U.S. Having more housing available for a variety of incomes should be implemented. More housing is critically needed, as I note in having more housing has helped homelessness. Pioneered in New York City in the 1980s, permanent supportive housing has now proven to be a successful and cost-effective solution to the homelessness crisis. The supportive housing model combines affordable housing assistance with vital supportive services for individuals living with mental illness, HIV and AIDS, or other serious health problems. Moreover, numerous research studies have shown that permanent supportive housing costs less than other forms of emergency institutional care. The landmark 1990 City-State New York and New York Agreement, which has been renewed twice, is the premier example of a permanent supportive housing initiative that successfully reduced homelessness in New York City and saved taxpayer dollars that would otherwise have been spent on costly shelters and hospitalizations. Some think that having more housing is the best way to alleviate the homeless from a disease and their mental well-being, but it can also even have greater change as well, according to the organization Housing First. In 2011, the Houston area had one of the highest homeless populations in the country, with more than 8,400 people without stable housing. And then by January 2020, the number had decreased by around 55% to around 3,800, according to the latest government homeless census. The city had earlier ended U.S. veteran homelessness by combining local, state, federal resources to house 3,650 veterans over a 3-year period, according to government data. Not requiring mandatory prerequisites like this, which made this decrease happen so fast, because letting homelessness into homes without any mandatory prerequisites, it definitely reduced it, but it isn't the most secure and affordable way for homeless people to get a home. According to giving people access to support services and a place to stay can reduce the number of those living on the streets. But shelters are incredibly expensive to operate. Nationally, the average monthly cost of serving a family in an emergency shelter is $4,819. Providing them with a voucher for housing, on the other hand, is just $1,162. Shelters might be good for emergencies, but does having a bed to sleep in mean that someone has a home? Just because someone has a bed doesn't mean they're safe and sound. With housing, it's much cheaper, and even though it's not the most comfortable, which leads to the final point here. The homeless can be helped by treatment so they can help themselves. Homelessness is not inevitable, it can be solved. These cities can show us how. Elsewhere, other cities have adopted different approaches. Trieste, northern Italy, close to the Slovenian border, has radically reduced homelessness by focusing on mental health. Studies have found up to 45% of homeless people, for example, some kind of mental health problem, and 25% are seriously mentally ill. So more than half of the 45% that have a mental disorder are very mentally ill. That's basically just why they're homeless in the first place. And having their mental disorder shows that mental therapy is a key part in getting them out of homelessness, so they can then help themselves by getting employed to make money, save up their own home in the future for their families, while they're already being helped by small housing situations being paid by the government and other charity organizations in the U.S.